Lustboy has made his triumphant return to the North American LCS stage.
Now you can see him again.
Yeah, now you can see him again with Cloud9 there. Obviously, they have two mid laners in with Golden Glue and Jensen.
Oof.
So we're going to be expecting, mages from the bottom lane or things like Yasuo. If you were following Jensen during the Cloud9 Academy games, he did have some very good Yasuo games down there. Only died one time, and he was going like the DPS crit build with Infinity Edge. So not kind of the more bruisery one.
So not seeing all the mages we would expect, but there is that Yasuo, and mainly the regular bans we would see coming out of Phase 1 is that Morgana is first pick for Cloud9.
Yeah, very quick early stages here of the champion select as TSM very secure on what they wanted to go for. The Sejuani very clearly, has this great synergy with melee champions, and so often in this current meta, we've seen her paired with teams that are running double solo lane melee champions. Already the Aatrox there, probably going to go to Hauntzer. He did get counterpicked versus Team Liquid by the Renekton, and Impact really destroyed him, but looks like he's more confident on it now.
That'll be his third pick for the Aatrox. Is also Sejuani, you said, going to Grig. On the side of Cloud9, that Aurelia pick, something that has been going to Bjergsen in the hands of Golden Glue, possibly with a Trundle.
Yeah, Aurelia can definitely be flexed to the bottom lane, but we've seen her primarily nowadays as that mid laner, getting more levels, and that could be in the hands of Golden Glue. Morgana also, even though it is such an early pick there, very flexible. We've seen it very successful, especially for SK Telecom in the bottom lane, with Bang playing it a lot. And already we're finished up here. Darius has been locked in as well for TSM, so that's kind of the other solo lane melee champion we were expecting. And either of those two can be switched around very clearly. The Aatrox doesn't have to go to Hauntzer, as Faker displayed. You could also hand that one to Bjergsen.
I do like that flex, and it makes it so crazy because you're up against basically kill lanes now where either one of those goes. How does Cloud9 respond? Looks like we do have some of those mage bans coming from TSM, and right now from C9, a Lucian ban with one final ban here onto Ezreal as they hit Sven.
Yeah, Cloud9 targeting the marksman here, and they're the ones who subbed in Jensen to have the mage player for the bottom lane. So they're just trying to get off the best marksman. Kai'Sa, Lucian, Ezreal, those three have been the most sought after marksman for the bottom lane, and they've banned out all of them here if you're also counting round number 2. So we'll see what TSM actually try and stretch to, because Sven, he can also play the mages, but it's not something that we're expecting from him.
Does have that Varus pick for himself still that's been in the summer split. A brand possibly locked in here for Cloud9. They already have quite a bit of damage in this composition, but more never hurts as they waste the time down here and use all of it to discuss what they're going to do.
All right, Brand has been super popular down for the bottom lane for one of the mages, either as a support, or the carry down there. But meanwhile, on TSM's side, I mentioned Sven and how we're not really expecting him to reach into that pool. He has played a lot of them in solo queue and even played like Ornn carry or something like that. But in the LCS, the only other marksman he's played is the Varus, which is also still on the table for him. Meanwhile, if we're looking at the solo lane matchups, TSM would probably want to put their Darius versus the Aurelia, try and find which lane that is going to, while Cloud9 are going to look for the Renekton into Aatrox one if they do switch it around. So now they've got an extra little trump card here with Impact already putting on display, the Renekton early game into Aatrox. Very dominating lane phase and kind of threatening that one again.
What will happen? They lock in the Varus. They take down the time all the way to 0, and it does get locked in as they discuss how this composition is going to work, where it's going to go. With that Varus and Tahm Kench locked in, they have an obvious bottom lane for Cloud9 to look at. Well, we're seeing where this Aatrox and Darius will go. Yeah,
and remember, this is 8.12 still, by the way, so that's the reason I mentioned the Varus. Not only is it, Sven's only other marksman played, but can still go for the Rage Blade. Definitely a very good user of it. Hasn't had the, small nerf that we've seen on live as well. And Mithy will be on the Tahm Kench, which has kind of been notorious for him in his time here over in North America.
Absolutely.
So we'll see how he pilots it this time around.
Playing it safe, having the comms to make somewhat of a global-ish initiation with Abyssal Voyage. If they need to catch up the fights in the game, it gives that leader a chance to really make plays around the map.
Yep, and Cloud9, they put Jensen on the Aurelia in the bottom lane here. Even though Bjergsen still is on the Darius, by the way, once they get into game, they can still send any player to any lane. So this doesn't necessarily mean that the brand is going mid lane, even though, okay, they had a hard time updating the graphics. It's actually going to be Golden Glue, as I'm looking at the client right now, who's playing the brand, and Jensen, who will be playing the Aurelia, but they could, you know, swap it around.
We'll see what happens once they get onto the Rift. A few new members, or I should say members from that original roster of Cloud9, Jensen and Smoothie back in week 3, day 1 here to see if Cloud9 can start to put some wins in that column. Going to be a tough start. TSM 2-2. Cloud9 is 1-3, looking to make as I said, a win in that column as they continue on in the summer split.
And this is kind of one of the funnest things about the changes to the champion diversity recently. When you're making your way through champion select and you see these solo lane champions, you know, quote unquote, people have been able to flex them so many times. It makes it very difficult to actually get the matchup that you want if the opposing team has flexible players, and that's in large part, you know, why Cloud9 are running with 2 mid lane players.
Let's see how we start. Dematerializers, a few stopwatches. We'll see at 8 minutes on the clock. But regular starts. Doran Shield's actually seeing a lot of love lately. He's just sit in lane, don't take as much damage. You can get your CS nice and safe. We see that for Hanser, Bjergsen, and Sven to start things off.
All right, looks like Hanser's gonna run them out of the river. Ward does go down. Nobody's taken the level 1 sweeper. That is an option nowadays, and actually really have liked it when I've seen it. You know, you can sweep one of the early wards, and especially if you get one of your solo laners, like your mid laner, in range for experience for that, you can get level 2 on the first wave, and there are a lot of interesting things you can do early on in the game. And with the game being, you know, fairly snowbally at the moment, any advantage, even as small as that, early on, can definitely be an extra step up in an important match like this.
Now, little situations that teams create too, an extended red buff invade where you see minions already hitting, but they're like, we're not going to leave, we'll keep fighting. You have to be ready for anything in this meta. Here, a little bit of help towards Brig as they now head back down towards the bot lane, and C9 should get a level 2 first, but I don't know if you're going to be able to do with it, anything with it under the turret.
The TSM duo giving the leash here, so they're much later to lane. Meanwhile, Sven Skaren with the Trundle just did his own red buff. So it gave Smoothie and Golden Glue control of the push here on bottom lane. Definitely have to worry about the collateral damage here in the double mage matchup. But Morgana's going to be looking to fire bindings past these minions. Golden Glue constantly looking for harass as well. You can see the Aerie does go out there just with the Tormented Soil touching TSM members. And it was reworked quite a while ago to give cooldown reduction if you do, you know, hit champions with it. So it becomes much more usable as far as spamming for harassment and wave push.
Really nice as well as you kind of create intersections with Morgana's abilities and brands. It makes it really hard for the enemy to ever run out of a situation without getting tagged by something. Always a lot of harass in that lane.
Yeah, exactly. Both of them have those line skill shots. That's why you see Golden Glue taking the top half here and Smoothie trying to control the brush. They do get the push in. They get the early level 2 and just keep on throwing a little bit of harassment TSM's way. Sven, though, should be able to get most of the CS here.
Say a victory as well to, if they get level 2, not to die to it. So TSM playing it safe, obviously with that kill pressure. Teleport for Golden Glue and Sven, but also Middy. If there's any trade in lane, they could be back very fast to counter that effect. Just a 10 CS lead down the bottom as Jensen clears a wave towards Bjergsen, and they go toe-to-toe for a moment.
Yeah, you can see Bjergsen on this Darius going for...
Hard binding hits, too.
Mithy has had a very bad time versus Morgana's. If you'll remember their Team Liquid game last week, he was on the recon, you know, ate a bunch of bindings, died straight up to Ole's Morgana there, landing a bunch of them. And that was, in large part, how TSM lost that game. And they definitely were disappointed in their own play last week. So you know they're fired up coming in to this week, trying to change the story. Here goes Trundle, though. Svenskeren showing for the
A
dive.
lot of love for Svenskeren. A few more hits, comes down. No gray health coming in for Middy. He goes down immediately. Svenskeren looking for a way out. Sven's going to be able to route in quickly, but just over the wall. If they get vision of Sven, they could probably turn this one around. Smoothie over very fast. He puts himself in the frying pan, and he gives Middy and Grig a kill.
Oh, Grig's able to flash away from the binding. Smoothie went all in for that one, and it gives another kill over to Sven. That's 2 here, racked up for TSM, even though Cloud9 got the first blood bonus, and we're sitting at very close gold because of the exchange.
Middy smiling from that. He says, I was gone, but it was a great show to watch. We'll see it again right here as C9 went a little too deep.
Oh, yeah. Smoothie's able to land another binding on Mithy there. And Mithy had flash, by the way, so that was another case of Mithy, giving up the first blood. But since Grig was already on the way down to cut off the escape, and Svenskeren had used his flash to get out of tower range, Svenskeren didn't have his flash to get over the wall there. Probably would have wanted to save that one in hindsight, but hindsight always 20/20. Grig's on the move again, though.
Jensen, very low on mana, can't get himself out unless he uses a summoner. It looks like he's going to be able to walk there with the pressure of Smoothie. Just behind him, Smoothie using Flash and Ignite in that last engage. Still trying to get around the map to kind of recoup that lost gold.
Yeah, this is where you expect a lot of the jungler action in these solo lanes that are both melee on melee matchups. Because the trading should be so heavy in those matchups, and the jungler making his way over should have a very, very large effect. It's pretty funny, actually, to realize this classic matchup of Jensen versus Bjergsen is now being played as Aurelia versus Darius.
I love it. When did we become top laners, Jensen? That's what Bjergsen's saying. T-map time for the side of Cloud9. 3 of them in the inventories now. A slight spike, but more for clearing the waves and being able to just push your laner out.
Exactly, and that's the main point, right? When you can push the wave first and make your opponent show in the lane, it gives you that opening to go for roams or go for the recall timing or set up for the dragon, get some vision for yourselves. Gives you that little bit of extra time to make the first move. Svenskeren here now, and Grig with the standoff, each one with a toward in their own brush.
So who's Scuttle's like, excuse me, passing through. Bjergsen hovering down. The 3 members kind of do see Cloud9 turning away for a moment, but Smoothie's able to make it in before Sven, and they grab control of the river and bottom Scuttle.
Yeah, even though we didn't have a confrontation there, that last 30 seconds is a good kind of encapsulation of some of the changes that went down in the jungle with the addition of Scuttle Crab and how important, all the gold and experience scaling is in the Scuttle Crab. So much about jungling is not only you tracking the enemy jungler, but also are your lanes pushing up in time for that Scuttle? Not only the Scuttle, but blue buff also taken over by Cloud9 with Jensen, Smoothie, and Golden Glue all making their way into the river to help out Sven.
Very proactive movement here from C9, pushing in from Jensen in the mid lane. As Bjergsen's clearing that wave, they are able to push back. You'll see the first roam from Bjergsen here. Get a ward down as they're looking to activate something soon, and that might be off C9's next blue.
Yeah, and we're seeing Jensen be a very team-focused player, right? Trying to go for the Scuttle to help him, trying to go for the blue there. And since it was on a cannon minion wave, he didn't lose out on too much experience, but Bjergsen is currently up that level and up the marginal amount of CS.
Mountain Drake is on the map. You might see a fight activated from that here in the next few moments. Teleports for top laner down, so we may see that kind of holding on when the dragon goes down if nobody has the pressure towards the bot side. That vision is in control of Cloud9 right now as they seem pretty happy with the start of the game. Definitely a lot of pressure from Golden Glue and Smoothie. They haven't been able to use too much of it yet, except for that kill onto Mithy, which was quickly traded back for TSM.
Yeah, and it's interesting to think about the pressure on the individual players, too. When there's so much roster movement, they really want to perform at all stages. Now they're making another move towards the bottom lane here. Cloud9 trying to bully TSM off.
Great call by TSM saying, don't see mid. We have no idea where Svenskeren is. They're going to go ahead and get this on. Great job by Bjergsen to kind of get the rotation on, able to give Mithy and Sven the idea that no, Jensen's not there, and they play it safe. TSM's trying to be very reactive to all the proactive play of Cloud9 before it gets out of hand.
Yeah. Speaking of Mithy, too, he is running that new Summoner spellbook, which hasn't been too popular, but we'll see if he gets a lot of use out of it later on. Right now, though, Grig in mid.
Gets apprehended in. Tags coming in from Grig, but they're not. Yes, they are able to CC him. Just no follow-up after the fact. A good binding in the bot side as no aggression comes back from TSM. C9 get that damage in.
Yeah, very important that Sven Skaren was also there in mid lane. Just a couple seconds left alone, as you're saying. Sejuani crowd control can stack up so quickly and take you down immediately. There's no cleanse, on Jensen. He does have Ignite. So if there was not extra support behind him, this lane would have been bursted out. Oh, that is going to be red buff burn to take it for Sven Skaren. Tough luck there for Jensen.
It's all right. Not necessary for Blues. Bjergsen didn't get his, but it is still very nice. Quick surges. Ha!
Yeah,
love it. Feels so good.
It definitely is on Aurelia. And one of the reasons why you want to get an early Tiamat on Aurelia is because you want to be able to clear that wave quickly with your Blade Surge. You want to get AoE the minions down so that you can get the resets on all of them like that and just get the quick chain. That's why Tiamat is so good on her, able to apply it so easily and give her very good wave clear, even for a melee champion. I mean, she does have to get a little bit close, so it's a little bit more dangerous, but Grig here looks like he's got some alone time with the Rift Herald, who is actually not dangerous at all. Rift Herald does surprisingly little damage. You just walk around behind her.
But much more damage to turrets. See the top lane teleports coming in. We figured if these would start a play. Licorice going very low. Hanser already has the ultimate down, so he's got a little bit of that range. Is it enough? No Dark Flight to follow up on the fight. Looking to disarm Bjergsen, he does. The flawless duet locks him down. Bjergsen's there with Sven Skaren. Goes down as Jensen is able to lock in that kill.
Especially good management of the tower aggro there. Because Jensen went in first and he got tower aggro, he pulls just outside and waits for Sven Skaren to use his ultimate to take the tower aggro to continue that dive. Meanwhile, though, TSM already took the tower on top side, so they got something back for themselves. The Cloud9 are on a rampage here.
The fight initiations are instant, but the fight that follows is methodical as C9 is in and out from these plays. Licorice saving himself topside with the aggression of Hanser and a teleport from Sven, so the avoided pressure huge for Cloud9 there and a 2,000 gold lead.
Let's take another look here. All right, this was the mid lane play, how it started out. Again, Jensen, he's stacking up the passive on Aurelia first before he goes all in. He goes outside of tower aggro, then waits for Sven Skaren's ultimate to take it before going in for the kill. Sven then just trying to walk out there and drop his, which allowed Cloud9 to get not only the kill there in the tower dive, even up to 2, but they also got 2-for-1 towers. Which means quite a bit more.
And that's crazy. I was going to say, Kobe, there's a Sheen inside Jensen's inventory. Do they activate something now? They did. He went back, and he gets a stinger right away. Being able to purchase on those backs feels so good. Cloud9 looks to use that power.
All right, setting up for the Dragon here. They should be able to take this one, as they've already seen Sven, the Varus on top side there with Bjergsen.
Yeah.
And Sven's teleport's on cooldown. Bjergsen has not taken in the mid lane, so Cloud9, another objective for themselves here in the early game.
We're up to 12.5 minutes now. Stopwatches are able to be used here for the past few minutes. Haven't gotten their use. Hanser and Jensen go back for a tower shot. Dark Flight now into Jensen. A possible error here as he gets himself a little too close, and Hanser says thank you.
Hanser is like, what are you doing, Jensen? Jumping around all over the place. Just gets him with the auto attacks. Super big increase to your range with your auto attacks.
Yeah.
And Aatrox gets his ult off there, so Hanser, no problem, chasing him down. And now it's TSM's favor here as the Rift Herald is activated. Mid turret is chunked down.
If they can get that to the second tier turret as well, it's just about the same amount, but they get a hit on the eye of the Heralds. And mid is down now in favor of TSM.
Yeah, I have to say, especially, looking at TSM, specifically Hanser here, trying the Aatrox again into the same matchup that he had versus Team Liquid. There wasn't as much jungle pressure this time around as well, but he's saying, yeah, Licorice, you are no replacement for Impact. He pushes him off and then takes Jensen in that 1v1 on the other side as well. So looking much better for his side. Cloud9, though, still overall slightly ahead here in this game. Let's look at Jensen one time, though. He take the tower shot there as he was kind of walking over to his teammates and take A little bit there as well. Went for the flash, but auto was already in motion there for Haunter, so it's still connected. That one felt like Jensen maybe thought that
he had help.
The rest of his team was coming a little bit quicker, because you saw Svenskeren, you saw Smoothie there. Cloud9 had control of the blue quadrant, but they were actually busy taking away the blue buff.
Just a little off on timing of when they thought things were going down. Sven and Mithy meeting up with Grig. Looks like we'll see actually two to the bot side here. Haunter and Bjergsen are kind of going to do a two-man team to see if they can take down what would be Jensen as they sneak themselves into position. Even TSM is kind of hovering that bot side to create this defensive wall. C9 gets mid off this though. We'll see how both teams play.
Oh, sounds like Tom Kench.
Abyssal Voyage. He's all alone, but he's got other members in front of the turret. They quickly take down Jensen. And Mithy does get a quick lick on that one to get himself on the assist. C9, like I said, going mid though. Does TSM have the power to stop this push and stop the second tier from going down?
Yeah, they're focusing on the minions here. Grig uses his smite on the cannon very nicely there. Sven also finishes it off. So they put a stop to that counter push. And that leaves Bjergsen on bottom side to take the turret.
It's the little things for TSM that kind of feel like they might be losing something, but they always have something in mind on the other side of the map when you look again.
This is the kind of the back and forth that people are looking forward to when they think of Cloud9 versus TSM.
Yeah.
Two organizations traditionally at the very top of the North American LCS. And they've gone through so many changes, but this one definitely still could go either way. And we start to hypothesize how some of these team fights are going to go, and it looks so much different there when TSM are the ones with the marksman. You know, Sven has the Rage Blade completed. Yeah. He has a Stinger of his own, which is a very gold efficient item. Currently, though, we might have some more action instead.
Dark Flight out. The pillar's just a little bit short as Haunter made it over. He is full for Bloodwell, so he's going to get himself back to safety. TP now from Sven towards the top lane. They feel like they have the damage. In from Jensen. Chain of Corruption. Oh, the Black Shield from Smoothie.
Smoothie there on the roam as well, and they're able to escape successfully. Now is an interesting 5v4 play because TSM still have Bjergsen splitting bottom, and remember, this is a non-teleport Darius, so he's going to go for the recall, but Cloud9 should be able to claim a turret on top of that kill on Haunter.
Slow push in as TSM knows no reason to kind of give this any mind. Push the rest of the map, get the vision down. Cloud9 doing a very good job of pushing a bit of that forward. But nobody seems to be sure enough to start moving the pink wards forward. They still need to be protected at this point.
Yeah.
16.5 minutes with another Mountain Drake coming up in 2.
Interesting little momentum swing there too, because Jensen was just the target of multiple TSM plays. You know, he messes up on top side, Haunter kills him. Then TSM focus him again immediately, only a couple minutes later, and get a second kill on him. I think it's important for him, you know, to kind of right the mental state there, gets a kill back for himself, a little bit of vengeance. He's got his training force completed.
Here it is again.
And this is how it went down. Again, Trundle ulting early here, tries to lower the resistances. They burst him down, waiting for the revival. TSM are trying to get him out there with the teleport, but too much damage upon arrival as well. And Smoothie there, perfect timing. He was there, easily able to land the Black Shield. In comes the Chain of Corruption, but
max range Black Shield. Hits it up. And you see the career head-to-head for Jensen and Bjergsen. Like we said, these were the mages matching up before. Now we got them on Irelia and Darius.
Yeah, these are two titans of mid lane, typically here in the North American LCS. Now they're playing Irelia and Darius. And definitely both of them with Trinity Forces already here. We've seen it become more and more commonplace for Darius to actually pick up to Trinity Force. Now, there's two reasons for this. One of the main ones to me is that there are a lot more squishier champions being played in multiple areas. Like the pure tanks have kind of fallen out of favor. So Darius having the extra spell passive there to get the burst damage on targets and try and get his passive, you know, the 5 stacks going, get the kill off. You get so much AD for Darius when you do set that thing off. Has been one of the big reasons people are using it now instead of the Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver is still good, especially if the team is running more tanks and you want to shred armor, but as you can see, not that much armor has been built on Cloud9's side, so doesn't really have to worry about that. And Trinity Force is a very big spike, so each team trying to use that one effectively.
You see just the 2 pink wards in mid for TSM there. Those are clearing out vision of Cloud9 to say, can we see TSM going anywhere throughout mid lane in the jungle? You can see There aren't really pushed up wards right now. Both teams are giving each other space, but still looking for a possible pick, because fights in a TSM and C9 game absolutely sway everything.
Yeah, I mean, this has been pretty back and forth, but the constant has been Cloud9 taking Mountain Drakes. This one, they have to pay for it, though, with an outer turret, as the secondary turret here does go down. TSM gets some gold for themselves in exchange for Mountain Drake number 2. Now, for Cloud9 to make it worth it for them stacking these Mountain Drakes, they're going to have to at least threaten around this Baron and put some more pressure on TSM.
We have the RNG gods as well. A third Mountain Drake will be spawning in the game. The third and final, as 3 of any one Drake can spawn. We'll see what happens if they can get that. C9 feeling pretty good right now. The gold lead has been closed once again by TSM. C9 at one point having a 2,000 gold lead, about 12.5 minutes. And now as TSM continues to pepper the lanes, Bjergsen strong enough to start the split, but so is Haunter. And the 1-3-1 is something TSM is very fond of.
All right, after the reset here, they send Jensen topside, Licorice to the bottom side. So it should be a 1-3-1 from Cloud9, at least to try and push out the minion waves. Now, that is dangerous to do if you don't have much vision, and you can see neither team is working with quite a lot of advanced wards because of how back and forth this game has been. This has been a game of trading objectives, trading sides of the map for both teams. Now, though, hard push down mid with teleport ready on Licorice.
See how this Cloud9 composition kind of differs from the one we've seen in the previous weeks. A lot of games, they would get to that mid game, have a very good lead, and stall out. Find a fight that they would go a little too far on. Get in their own head with the lead. Right now, they seem pretty composed and are not throwing themselves into TSM, knowing it's going to get very scary here with Baron up.
All right, Nasher's completed for Sven as well on the Varus. You know, the on-hit AP Varus has become extremely popular, and he's 2 items spiking now, so they definitely have the DPS if Cloud9 are unable to dive him. And that, again, is going to be a spotlight here on this TSM duo. Mithy on the Tom Kench. He's going to have to be the one. Whoa, never mind.
Caught up on the top side. Jensen not feeling this one, but Sven Skaren's there to help. Smoothie's just on the backside to deliver the black shield and allow him to keep moving. Jensen makes it off to the right side, but that's going to be right under the feet of Haunter as he starts slicing and dicing, getting into the fight. Sven is going to be the one grabbing these kills as Golden Glue and Licorice check around to see if anybody else can go down, but the fight in the favor of TSM.
Yeah, both top laners channeling their teleports here and arriving. 1 extra kill over to TSM, but that's how close these brawls can go. That was in large part to Jensen surviving a long time. He didn't let Bjergsen get the kill off with his Noxian Guillotine early enough for TSM to really take this fight over. All right, so he's going to Defiant Dance that ultimate from Brig. You can still keep it channeling during stuns. And then, yeah, he's able to get the burst damage. But there goes Jensen running away from Bjergsen trying to delay it. In the end, they both go down. One Haunter arrives, though. You can see the DPS from Sven really kind of highlighted there, as the marksman was able to free fire for a lot of that. You know, Bjergsen was focused down, and then they were unable to kind of put pressure onto Sven on this Varus, and Varus was able to get out a lot of damage.
Crazy stuff. Seeing Haunter come in completely changes the fight. 250 CS to the 207 of Licorice, and he has been kind of absorbing a lot of pressure in the top lane. We've seen quite a few hits from Jensen, Sven Skaren, and Licorice up there, as Haunter has been putting some work down on the Aatrox. Now in the bottom lane, he'll match up with Licorice. See C9 start to clear out vision here as we're going to start getting a little jockey for position on that Baron pit.
All right, wards being cleared out. You can see how little information TSM are working with now. The only champion they could see was Licorice on the Renekton down bottom. They know his teleport's not ready, but because they don't have any extra, here we go. Defensive ultimate from Sven. He's able to land it, and that kind of delays the engage, but that is an ultimate cooldown used for TSM.
Seeing what summoners are up. Jensen's is down, but Golden Glue and Smoothies is up. Smoothie could actually get that Soul Shackle ultimate in. We'll have to see, though. It's a pretty scary composition you would be going into, and TSM looks prepared as Mithy pushes in with Sven from the bot side.
And I think that TSM would want to force here because they're getting 1-3-1 split at the moment. Cloud9 were just able to push both side lanes there while keeping mid lane with just 3 people. And TSM were all grouped up as 5, so they kind of push their way in for the vision control on Baron in exchange for the side waves getting pushed out. And these are the small timing windows that you have to look at. Each 30 seconds of a wave spawning is kind of your opening to move into the river, try and clear out the vision as quickly as possible.
All right, Kobe, so perfect fights from either side here. What is Cloud9 looking for? If they can, or do they even want to initiate? Same thing for TSM. Who is their target?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to call out the perfect fight as there are so many possible targets, right? There's so much damage here on the squad with all of these quote-unquote, solo lane champions that we saw it successfully pull it off with multiple different targets. Ideally, though, the marksman, this 4-kill Varus is going to be the primary target. Big problem is that he is usually right next to Mithy, the Tom Kench, whose only or main job there is to hit the Devour, not allow Cloud9 to take out Sven at the beginning of the team fight. And everybody else is pretty much trying to play, frontline for him. But Cloud9 would love to have easy access back there to the Varus and try and take him out first. There are definitely multiple ways to do that. Aurelia is one of the most threatening ones because she has a lot of mobility. And we'll see if TSM can try and focus her down with the crowd control.
Ooh. Then with an interesting pathing, but both teams respecting each other as they flex muscles on the front of the fight. Dodge, but spell immune still, as Svenskeren would have been able to get out of that one. One big ultimate down. A little bit of chaos in the calls probably, but they don't fully want it. Oh, right on the edge! Greg gets himself caught, and Bjergsen's just on the end. Shield goes on to him, and now they are on to Mithy, who will fall just over the pit. Svenskeren follows and chomps him down.
And that's the thing, when you're playing against a Trundle, that's why we say there are so many viable targets, that it doesn't have to be the Varus. He's just the best one. They immediately ultimate. Svenskeren uses his ultimate onto Grig, melts the resistances there for Sejuani, and they burn right through him. Now it is a Baron bait. They've started it up, and TSM are heading in.
Sometimes it feels better when you know you're just going for the pause on the Baron. TSM need to yo-yo back and forth. C9 choosing whether they want a target. In goes Haunter, though, right onto the pit. 1,200 health for Baron. It goes down, and it goes to Svenskeren. Cloud9 grab the objective. They do lose Licorice on the way out, and they're going to be able to take down Haunter, but now we'll have map control.
All right, now they're going to be able to push here, and that's going to be so important for the Baron buff taking down secondary turrets. TSM will pick up the consolation prize of that last Mountain Drake, but it does not have a lot of value because Baron's already off the map, and they're going to be on the defensive for the next 3 minutes here, trying to just defend their own turrets. Not going to get a lot of use out of the extra 2 damage. Here's another look at that team fight, though, as they exchange cooldown.
What a dodge.
Ultimate used. Black Shield was also used, so could have been tanked right there, but then they exchange frontline to frontline, and he just absolutely gets demolished. And TSM have to run.
That was interesting, too, because Bjergsen was there to apprehend. It seems like everybody wanted that, but C9 just activated.
Yeah, they run right through. And you got to think it feels good for Svenskeren, who was traded off of TSM onto this Cloud9 squad, to get some kills onto his old team.
He said he's not superstitious. He just knows he's playing well. 27 minutes on the clock, an 8-8 score line. Really doesn't tell you too much. The damage on the map does, though. We see C9 trying to push into this middle inhibitor turret, almost taking it down, but an 800 gold lead means the game is pretty even, and they have to consider the fights.
Yeah, they also are having Licorice right now on the bottom lane, pushing up the minions, so they're going to have a second lane of pressure coming, and they can switch over to take the outer turret first. But they're not relenting on this inhibitor turret. It only has a couple more autos left to it. Let's see if TSM try and force or if they just give it up.
Just a love tap for the inhibitor to go down. Jensen forcing forward to say, yes, I'm here. As he throws out a flawless duet. And TSM will stay back somewhat. There's always the mentality to save something as soon as it goes down, but it does not look like TSM will bite. And they know the Baron just makes C9 too strong.
Yeah. Gonna have to cede control of mid lane there. Inhibitor down, that will be constant super minion spawning for Cloud9 through mid, and they can just rotate down to get this secondary outer turret, and that'll be a pretty big Baron power play as far as the control that they were able to get. I have to say, like, the Tom Kench pick has a lot of value when you're against teams that rely very heavily on picking off priority targets. Obviously the denial of CC or when you're trying to answer split push, get cross match, make good use of the ultimate. However, one of the weaknesses of Tahm Kench is he doesn't bring a tremendous amount to a fully stacked 5-on-5 fight.
Yeah.
Even though you save someone during a committed 5-on-5, they also can't do anything while they're in your belly. No without DPS.
A lot of damage onto Haunter. If he gets stacked up, though, he's feeling good. Haunter goes down immediately. Licorice is low with Jensen. The shield is on, and he is out. Bjergsen is following, though, as he wants to take Jensen down. Slices him, and Jensen falls. Bjergsen now trying to route the left side of C9 as Midi comes in with the Abyssal Voyage. He's just a distraction. He needs to stay alive long enough for the rest of TSM, but C9 seem to have the fight handled as Smoothie and Golden Glue head to the base with Svenskeren.
Yep, TSM try and turn that one into the recovery, but it's not going to be the case as they lose Mithy there in the chase, and that will allow Cloud9 to return to their siege.
The cutoff as well, stopping Svens from coming back will give these guys a little more time to take down the second inhibitor, and a beautiful Baron buff run as it just wears off for Cloud9.
Yeah, I mean, that was on the verge of making it happen for TSM. We talked about the Noxian Might for Bjergsen if you get your 5 stacks of passive up, or if you kill someone with your Noxian Guillotine, you get a bunch of damage, but he was unable to close the gap. So here we go. Binding starts it off, lands onto Haunter, the Aatrox. Cloud9 instantly converge on him, and they try and take him down before the Bloodwell gets fully stacked. Just one more. And, you know, Haunter would have been able to stack that one up, but Cloud9 took him down very quickly, so he wasn't able to. Then, Bjergsen's going, I got Noxian Might, you know, teleport in here, guys. We can cut him off, we can try and get some more, but he's on the other side of the wall, so doesn't get to do anything there. Wow, Mithy just gets focused down by the 3 members of Cloud9 that are right next to him. And the attempt at turning the game around is foiled fairly quickly.
That was great. They got there, and Mithy's like, I'll take you back, Sven. Sven was like, keep me in here. I don't want to come out. 3,200, really putting a separation in that gold for the first time. Just about 3,000 gold in the favor of Cloud9. Still, not even that much, but the edge in these games is really only the thing that either team needs.
Yeah, those chases are so interesting to look back on because in the moment, you know, you TSM, you're thinking we got to chase them down. They're going to run, you know, maybe around this wall or something from the outside. But if you split up in your attempt to chase down the outnumbered opponents, sometimes you will then become outnumbered as everyone is not able to add anything. Here we go, though. Last inhibitor turret here. Cloud9 sieging up once again as Haunter starts his recall from the bottom.
May stay? He stays.
All right, he's going to stay for one more wave.
Take that down. TSM sets things up nicely. They always think ahead. I mean, every team thinks ahead, but if TSM wins that fight, now that inhibitor is possibly open for a takedown, they're trying to set everything up knowing C9 is on the cusp of taking this game in victory. Yeah. 31.5 minutes, they're back on top inhibitor.
If you look at this gold grab too, kind of does tell the story that we were going through for the first 25 odd minutes of this game. Trading objectives back and forth across the map. But then Cloud9 winning a couple of back-to-back fights. Huge Baron push for them. And now TSM are trying to dig themselves out of a hole.
GA, Zanya's, most summoners up. Jensen's are both down after that last engage. We've seen a few of the teleports down with flashes, but the majority of summoners all up with those ultimates. So it's going to be a pretty hectic fight. Targets have to be on point. A bit of damage to keep pushing them off. You see the Pillars of Flame, all the Tormented Soil, but it's really not phasing TSM too much. Make their way halfway out of the base, but this is all very scary. Even these ward clears right now, very touch and go.
Yep, they're doing their best, and they have Sven, this 6-kill Varus, up on top side, doing his best to clear out the minion waves. Like, he is definitely a very powerful, you know, on this marksman. This game is not the marksman's fault, as TSM still just trying to clear waves, buy time for themselves. Problem is, Baron, as you said, now there's only 10 seconds left on it, and Cloud9 will again try and pull TSM out of their defensive positions.
Svenskeren almost onto Greg. Arctic Assault means he won't have too much of a getaway now. They could use Subjugate on him, and Svenskeren would be very big. Damage going down onto Bjergsen. He spit out in the back of the fight as Svenskeren tries to kind of put himself in the front. Licorice, a target for Greg as he gets Darkbound on the backside. Darkflight just dodged by the flash, and then they try to disarm the entire team of TSM. A lot of back and forth, but nobody takes the full initiation.
Cloud9 know that they've got the advantage of super minions constantly pushing on bottom side, so they try and disengage there. They don't want to risk losing members and allowing TSM a way back into this game. Let's look at it though, because TSM now, they've sent back Bjergsen to deal with those super minions inside the base, as well as Mithy though, on the Tahm Kench, now teleporting back to the field.
Nobody wants to make the wrong move. Hauntzer knows he has Dark Flight, so it can be a little dangerous with his positioning to start kind of figuring out where C9 is. He's almost a mobile ward right now. He's doing a good job of it. Have
Back
to get out of that one. Yep, just playing it safe.
Remember, he's got to charge up his Blood Whale before Cloud9 focuses him down. Now
Turret on the base is going to go down. They're about to lose a Nexus turret as they engage the fight. TSM say we have to go right now, and they go for broke. Hauntzer just getting his blood well up. He is going to be back in the fight. Licorice with a few more shots. Bjergsen flashes forward to initiate that, and Mithy spits him out as they're going to look for the objective.
Much needed kills for TSM, but look at their base. As you said, the minions are destroying it.
Do they go for the objective, or do they get back? The super minion with a few more shots on that Nexus. He changed turrets. Oh my God, TSM getting very lucky on that one, and C9 is still going to try to pressure just to stop the backs for now.
They've got to clear out these minions very quickly. Able to even keep that Nexus turret up, and these inhibitors just respawn. TSM with a very timely couple of kills for themselves, but now Cloud9 onto the Baron.
It never ends with this match, Kobe. 35 minutes on the clock. TSM just picked up 2 kills. It was 10-10. They look to make it a little better in their favor. Possibly no advantage. They get in the pit. Baron damage. Oh, but he's going to be able to get it before he goes down. They take down mid and Griggy. Mithy and Grig. Words. How the hell did that happen?
Sejuani. Oh my God, what a play from TSM. Mithy brings in Grig on the Sejuani. And they still kept up the damage on the Baron. We'll have to take the replay, but that was probably brand passive, as well as a couple more things stacking, still burning on the Baron. They get it low enough. The ult from Jensen flies out, but as he's about to die, they're able to pick up the Baron, and that is going to extend this game. Let's take another look. All right, Baron, it does have the brand passive on it right now. They get the bouncing damage. Oh my God, he was just about to die too. Whew.
Good old Griggy.
All right, let's see if that's enough though. TSM now with the Baron buff to try and defend. Cloud9 taking inhibitors.
Honestly, it could just be a buffer, Kobe. It's tough right now with how much is down here for TSM. And the inhibitor is all open, I should say 2 open, ready to be taken down. Mithy getting as much wards or as much vision as they can just outside the base, but they have to be careful with every step they take as C9 is leaving these breadcrumb wards on their way out.
Whew. Well, the Dragon is up. They're not even going to try and burn that down before they get out of here. TSM are pushing hard on this cannon wave. They've got 2 minutes worth of time here bought by Mithy and Grig with the Baron buff to get some money back for themselves and flip this game right back around.
Look at that. Just a few actual shots for Sven. 6-0-4 still. Wasn't really getting any of the latest action that was happening on the map, but C9 with those last 2 kills able to even up the score. A 2,000 gold lead here for TSM, and 1, I believe, Baron buff on Bjergsen, or a few members, I should say, that didn't make it into the pit.
Yeah, it was Grig and Mithy that went down, so everybody else has it, and that's enough for TSM to push 2 waves.
Bjergsen in the mid, Svenskeren throws down the pillar to try and just deter a little bit of damage, and everything that C9 has been doing in just advantage and pressure, they're now defending and trying to use their ultimates to stop TSM.
You can really see those changes to AP being converted into tower damage there with the AP build Varus just cutting through these turrets like butter. Takes that one down so quickly, and Baron buff, another minute. That's 2 more minion waves for TSM to work with here. They can just keep this siege up.
It's crazy, Kobe. It seems to be a time in the game that's plaguing C9. The same thing happening last week to 100 Thieves just on the top side of the map. C9 having the lead, having control, and then losing it right off the bat with the other team having all of it in their hands.
Count up the Guardian Angels. TSM with both solo laners, Guardian Angel active ready. Cloud9 have 1 on Aurelia. And then you also have to take into account Hauntzer, if he stacks his passive up, will also get another revive. So choose your target wisely if you are Cloud9 and you're trying to all in on the team fight.
Choose your 8 targets wisely. All 8 of them.
Here we go. Licorice, is he going to make a move for it? That inhibitor's almost gone.
Double inhibitor dropping right now for TSM, just causing chaos for Cloud9. No serious target to initiate on, and even if they did, they wouldn't be sure if they could follow up.
TSM completely reversed the situation of this game.
Incredible.
It is now Cloud9 down 2 inhibitors with their base wide open and a full reset.
The thing that becomes even tougher is when you are on the team of the receiving end of the other team capitalizing, it's much harder to come back. TSM is going full bore down the tracks, and they're very not likely to make a mistake at this point.
And one of the reasons a lot of teams, started switching off of marksman in the bottom lane and onto these mages was because, yeah, the early game was definitely hit hard for the marksman, but late game scaling is still very much there. And as Zabutin said in his interview, the extra range that you get on a full DPS built marksman is going to bring a huge advantage for team fights. And we'll see if TSM are now, after they've been able to even it up, will be able to finish out this game. Ooh.
Holy moly.
That's an AP build, buddy.
That stings. I felt that one just watching. TSM now on this bottom turret. Remember, Hanser stayed during that engage to take the second tier down. Now TSM are able to put damage instantly on the inhibitor turret, giving them a little more ground to hit over onto Golden Glue. Damage comes through down to half health, but it is going to be Licorice being able to join back into the fight now. He is teleported behind the team, tries to get the Predator strike down onto Sven, but he's caught up and spit out. Greg on the backside looking to deliver more crowd control as Licorice goes in. Hanser in the backside doing a 3v1 as Greg almost goes down to Sven Skiren. Hanser, or the Resurrect rather, onto Jensen as Hanser is going ham on the back line. And there goes Cloud9 dropping to the Rift as TSM take control of the fight and make their way into the base.
They never finish off Sven. Mithy gets another Devourer off. He lives, and this is going to be Bjergsen, Sven, and Mithy trying to end the game.
Perfect focus from a team that has the late game prowess behind them. The history of TSM always says they'll take the late game fights, and that's where they bring this Rift. It's going to be 40 minutes on the clock, 15-4, and they may possibly be stopped by Golden Glue as Jensen as they look for another wave to come in. 20 seconds on those respawn timers.
Yeah, with all the super minions, it's going to be difficult for Cloud9 to even put out enough DPS.
Freehand, Bjergsen almost goes down as he goes in, but he gets a little bit of a heal. The bleed on the Golden Glue with minions takes him down, and that's going to be it for TSM. They take down Cloud9 in beautiful fashion.
Oh. What a comeback there for TSM. Mythi's Tom Kench, in the end, the Abyssal Voyage takes them all the way to the finish line. They steal the Baron, they run it back through Cloud9's base, and get the victory.
Oh my word, what a back and forth all game. 2,000 gold leads being switched time and time again. Mountain Drakes in favor of C9, which made you think that they would have just taken down every turret that they were in front of, but they got paused at the base, and TSM used that time to figure out how to get back in it.
Whew. Definitely gonna keep an eye on that one. There's a lot of aspects to review about this game. It was definitely a fun ride, though, from beginning to end.
Sven in week 1 against FlyQuest was 3-0-8 with Mithy as his Tom Kench on that Varus. Now he's 8-0-5 against Cloud9. Definitely a strong pick. Even focused in the bans in that bot lane. Second phase, he got 2 bans thrown at him.
Yep, Sven continuing to play the marksman, and they do find some success here.
Why not? A lot of teams say no marksman. They're like, marksman.
Yeah. I mean, you can do with them, you can do without them. It's kind of what they're going for.
But we see it work out. We were talking about Bang playing Morgana as well over in LCK. We have seen everything. It's just kind of what plays to your flavor that day, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful meta right now. We have TSM take the win to give us their thoughts on how TSM turned that around. Let's send it over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. It is a beautiful meta. And after we sink our teeth into that game, Ovely will sit down with Hanser and Bjergsen for an interview. So stick around for that. Turning our attention to the first match of the day, one of the two matches that you guys did differ on in your predictions. Jack,
How foolish of me.
How foolish.
Couldn't you clearly tell that TSM was the superior team?
You put your faith in Cloud9. Unfortunately, they did not come out on top in this one as TSM fought back from 2 inhibs down. I want to re-hit the win conditions as we had laid them out at the top of the day.
Well, I like the fact that they didn't play standard. I thought even the little mind game they could play between throwing Brand or Aurelia mid was useful. I actually thought their bottom lane was quite strong in the laning phase. And as C9 has done now in like 4 out of 5 of their games, they've had control and had a very winnable game. But you switch out 2 of the players, you have the same problems.
Just didn't come together. On the flip side, TSM win conditions.
Yeah, they banned out the 3 champions I wanted them to ban out. And then their draft was pretty standard. I didn't love Bjergsen on Darius, even though he had a good game on it, and I think he played it well. You saw that they still fell behind, and it was more off their late game decision making. And I would have just rather had a better champion at late game than Darius. But he made it work, so I'm not going to criticize too much. And they still had a real marksman down in the bot lane, the only one in the game.
In all honesty, I enjoyed how much the champion selects to some degree, specifically those ban phases aligned with what we had said both teams should try and attack. And so with that table set, I want to turn our attention to the game as it played out. We talk about the early game advantages for C9 and the good lane phase for the C9 bot lane. That does not mean that they were without mechanical errors on both sides of the rift.
And this is something we had Mithy as a player to watch at the top of the day.
Him.
Yeah, we're watching him, and there's a dive coming in. We talk about the Brand lane having priority with the Morgana. He's in trouble, and his decision-making or mechanics.
He has unsealed spellbook. So he probably thought he had exhaust, but instead of using Grey Health, he actually starts channeling his teleport, and he dies.
Fails to use the flash.
But then, right, TSM messed up there. Svenskeren didn't have turret aggro. Smoothie was holding it. He could have walked back through the lane. Instead, he flashes into the enemy jungle, starts trading with Grig. This is kind of the panic that C9 seems to play with sometimes. Even if that binding lands, Smoothie's only going to trade 1-for-1 with Sven. It actually misses. What was a good dive turns into a 2-for-1 loss. And that is actually what has been happening with C9 throughout this entire split, where they actually make a good play, but then they have a level of franticness to their play style, almost like COG did at the beginning of Spring Split.
Right.
And it's costing them dearly.
I mean, a lot of people will also point to the second Baron play in this game where the Tahm Kench and the Sejuani come in. The steal ends up coming through for TSM, gives them that breathing room so that they can ultimately claw their way back into the game.
It was definitely a game of kind of throws, obviously, by the goal graph. And it was a little disheartening to see just because it wasn't like, you know, this team on C9 didn't quite have time to just gel together. They're making mechanical mistakes too. Jensen got solo killed in the side lane where he could have just flashed to his team but starts dashing back to the minions and puts himself in range of the Aatrox. So there were a lot of mistakes like that that hurt them a lot. And, you know, it wasn't just like a macro mistake that we were expecting more to see with the new team.
Yeah, and Kobe mentioned that this was a game that reminded you of the TSM versus C9 matches where it's very close. And I completely agree with that. This was a very close, hard-fought game. But this was a very nerfed, non-Rift rival attending TSM C9 middle-of-the-pack slugfest rather than that battle for first.
Right,
Both
very
of
good
these
point.
teams have a long way to go before they have championship aspirations.
One of the last things I want to touch on here as well is Jensen and his performance in his first game back on the main stage here in the LCS, taking that Aurelia to the mid lane up against the Darius of all things from Bjergsen.
Looked pretty good in the lane. I thought he was mostly doing his job. Didn't look comfortable split pushing versus the Aatrox, but maybe that's just an experience thing. How many times has he played Aurelia in a side lane versus an Aatrox? So minus a couple mistakes like that, I thought he looked good. And it was not a clearly improved roster or clearly worse roster than what we were seeing out of C9 before.
And Golden Glue in the bot lane. I mean, again, he was already performing well in the mid lane, but did seem to step it up. Highest damage in the game on that brand. With that, to hear from the players who pulled out the victory, let's pass it off to Avali and the TSM solo laners.
Thanks, guys. Hanser, Bjergsen, congratulations on that victory. That game was looking a little grim for TSM at some point. So tell me, Hanser, please, about the comeback starting with Grig Steele.
I actually don't remember much of the game. At least the end. Wait, so we killed some people?
It was a time ulti into the Baron.
Oh yeah, and John Smite. Okay. Yeah, good shit by John.
How about you? So do you remember more of the game?
I mean, I remember a little bit. It was a really long slugfest, like the analyst said. But John never missed a smite except for against Xfinity last week. But we don't talk about that. Actually, I really trust Greg Smites on Baron, and their jungler obviously wasn't alive, I believe, at that time, so he should get the Baron. But in general, I think it's one of his actually strengths as a jungler.
So one of the highlights coming into this match was actually Jensen returning to Cloud9. So I want to ask you, did you expect to play against him? Do you think he was going to go somewhere else on the map? And do you think that this was the right move for Cloud9 to bring against you guys?
I had very little expectations because it's hard to. I thought perhaps they were going to look to do something regarding funnel and then play a mage in the bot lane like we've seen in some regions, but looked like they banned out all the funnel champions. They're scared of the Kaisa, of the Zyra Khan funnel. And they just went with kind of the standard. I thought if they were going to play standard, it was going to be Jensen bot and Golden Glue mid, but whatever. I'm just playing against a champion. I'm playing the matchup. Either player wouldn't really change the way I feel about the game.
And you guys actually had a change of your own. We saw Lustboy join you guys on stage today as your stage coach. How did that change come about, and how did it affect you guys, Hanser?
Oh, I don't know. So we just did to try something new because, after last week's loss, we realized we just had the wrong comps and the wrong ideas in draft. And with the Lustboy stage, I feel like he is less prone to wandering off than Song was. And it's something that Song's working on too. But this week we just felt like trying Lustboy, and it paid off.
Any new changes for you?
With Lustboy? Mm-hmm. Since it was his debut, it was obvious that he was preparing for every scenario, and he knew exactly what he wanted going on stage, which was really nice. I could feel he had really over-prepared, but it made it really easy for us today that we locked in every champion as soon as possible. We locked in every ban. We knew exactly what we were going to do, and it felt at least we felt more confident going into the game because of it, I think.
Well, Bjergsen, Hanser, thank you. And for everyone else, when we return, Team Liquid and Echo Fox battle it out for first place in Game 2 of the day. Don't touch that browser.
Svenskeren showing for the dive.
A lot of love for Sven.